Well, I see some of you guys made it back. Welcome back. Sorry about the interruption, everybody. Apparently, my service was so bad that I have to go outside. Hey, Melanie. Thank you guys for hanging in there and bearing with me. I do apologize for the spotty service and the poor connection. Hey, Kelly. Thank you guys for coming back. I really appreciate that. Thank you for the likes, Kelly. I appreciate that. It really helps boost this feed into the algorithm, helps more people find their way here. Hello, Simply Energy. Thank you, Melanie, for sharing the live. I appreciate that. Okay, so I think enough of you guys are here now that I can try to share the story with you that I was going to share. Anyway, I realized on the last live that I was talking, we were talking about health and specifically things you could do to raise your frequency and vibration, primarily your diet, things you can eat to raise your frequency and vibration. And we talked about that a lot. We pretty much covered all of the bases. And one of the things that I talked about in that was that I have a general distrust for the Western medical profession. One of the gifts was for your wife. It has the note with it. Maybe I didn't get that yet, Kelly. The what I did receive, at least I'm assuming that it was from you. I don't. No, it was from you. I got the bay leaves and the frankincense resin, and thank you so much for that, by the way. Super stoked about both of those, especially the frankincense because I did not have any. I was out. Thank you for the trumpets, Deborah. So anyway, I talked about a general distrust I have for the medical profession. And I realize that I say stuff like that all the time, and I don't put a whole lot of thought into that. And the last thing I want to do is to offend anybody who has a pure heart and is working in the medical profession, trying to help people, trying to save lives. Because I truly believe the majority of people who work in the Western medical profession are those type of people. My problem is not with the people. It's not with the doctors. It's not with the nurses. It's not anything like that. It's systemic. It's our very system. Capitalism is based on greed. The highest moral in a capitalistic society is greed. The founder of capitalism said the greedier a society is, the more prosperous it will be under capitalism. That's why America has been so prosperous, right? There's plenty of greed to go around. And unfortunately, that mindset finds its way into almost every nook and cranny of our society. And the medical profession is not immune to that. And that's one of my main issues with it. And that's not against the people, for sure. It's not the doctors, the nurses, and everybody who works in the field trying to help people. It's insulin shots or the what is the immune shots that I can't think of the name right now, but they recently went from like $100 a shot to $500 or $600 a shot. And if you need one, you have to have it or you die, kind of thing. And it takes like 99 cents to make this. That's just pure greed, and I cannot get behind that at all. Did you know our insurance company has their own pharmacy? I did not know that. Yes, Deborah, you can burn it just like incense, among other things, but that's the main thing that I use it for. Exactly, Dave. Exactly. So, yeah, just imagine a pharmaceutical company is paying for a practice. Yeah, exactly. So here's the thing. Um, Again, my issue is not with the people. My issue is with the system. And the same thing for me with science is with the medical profession. in our society, especially in Western civilization, science has set itself as diametrically opposed from anything of spirit. It's not that there's not information there to study. It's not that it cannot be studied. It's that science attempts to write spirit out of the equation and say that it does not exist and that it is simply a figment of people's imagination, that it is superstition that stems from religion, right? Basically, surmising anyone who has any spiritual belief to ignorant fools who were trapped by religious dogmas. And I take serious issue with that because almost any time that spirit has been studied scientifically, there have been mountains of data come out of that. The medical profession in Western civilization is essentially the same thing because it does not look at spirit. It doesn't even look at energy. It looks at every portion of the body as if it exists in a vacuum. So if you go to your doctor because you're having kidney pain, they look at your kidney and that is all most of the time. They won't look at what could be affecting your kidney, the interplay between the various organs of your body, your metabolism, your diet, the things that you're ingesting. Everything is connected, right? So what's going on one part of your body might be affecting the other part. In most practices in Western civilization, they don't even look at that, much less something like energy or spirit. And so that's one of my main pet peeves with that. Project Looking Glass. Yeah, good, terrifying stuff in there for sure, my friend. So anyway, before I go too far down that soapbox, I wanted to share with you guys right after I had that thought of feeling bad um, because I don't want to alienate anyone who does work in the medical profession. It's not their fault, right? This is this system, a system of control that is foundational for our society. It's not the nurse. Um, it's not the doctor, right? It's the moral of greed, essentially, that is the issue. You can alienate me. I am 100% with you, Dave. 100%. It is the system. And here is an example of how that system um, is designed in a way to incentivize greed and corruption and malpractice and misuse of medical information. So there is a guy, a doctor, who was just indicted and then sentenced to 50 years in federal penitentiary because he intentionally misdiagnosed 553 people with cancer. He convinced 553 poor souls that they were dying of cancer just so that he could sell them very expensive, painful, life threatening cancer treatments that they did not need, knowing that there was nothing wrong with them, that they did not have cancer. They, some of them almost died from the treatments, from the chemotherapy and all of the terrible things. Not only that, but the mind body connection, right? When you tell somebody, hey, you're dying, hey, you've got 2 to 3 years left of your life, that can be a death sentence for them physically because if you believe something strongly enough, it doesn't matter if it's true or not. If you believe it, it becomes reality, it becomes true for you. Um, this guy to me is just, this doctor was just um, an example, just an example of why the medical profession is broken. It's the same reason our politics is broken, the same reason our educational system is broken, the same reason every single aspect of our system is broken is because the foundation it is built on is greed, and that is not sustainable, right? We can't always make more money. We can't have 500,000 billionaires in the world, right? Like, we just don't need that. There's no need for that. Um, it's not sustainable, and it should not be sustainable. It is absolutely disgusting. Did you hear about that new lawsuit that just happened? He was telling them that. Yeah. So, anyway, I don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole because it gets dark. I just wanted to share that information with you guys. Um, and it is truly disturbing. It's terrifying. My heart goes out to those 553 souls who had to go through those terrible things. And that is just one of many examples of the kind of crap that goes on. But to me, the whole reason I started talking about this is because on our last live we were discussing things that you can do to raise your frequency and vibration and maintain balance, achieve balance. You guys, I'm sure, all know of the Hippocratic Oath that a doctor takes, right? We talked about that, about Hippocrates, about let food be your medicine and medicine be your food, and the importance of that. And I'm sure most of you guys, if not every single one of you in here, knows that the caduceus wand that you see associated with almost every single medical profession in Western civilization. It's on every ambulance, it's on the hospitals, it means medicine to us, right? Thank you for sharing that information, Dave. I just paused to read your comment. I appreciate that. So, okay, the caduceus wand, where that comes from, it's better known as the staff of Hermes. And sadly, almost nobody in the medical profession in the West has a clue what it really means or what it symbolizes. And I find tremendous irony in the fact that a medical profession that does not believe in spirit, that does not believe in chakras, that does not believe in kundalini, much less your third eye or ascension or spiritual awakening, would use a symbol such as the staff of Hermes to symbolize medicine, right? Because that is what the staff of Hermes represents, the caduceus wand. That's what that is. It is most commonly pictured as a staff, right? A staff. And it usually has a ball at the top of the staff. And then circling around it, spiraling, are twin snakes that alternate up each side of the staff towards the top. And at the top, the heads of the snakes are usually facing each other towards the ball at the top of the staff, where wings sprout from this ball. What that symbolizes, and most of you, again, probably already know this, is the staff is your spine. The twin snakes circling are the energies lying dormant at the base of your spine until they are activated in a spiritual awakening. The divine feminine and masculine energies, respectively, that energize and activate each of your chakra centers as it rises to your crown chakra, the point of the ball, the heads of the snake. Once your third eye is activated, and then the crown chakra, the wings sprout, and you achieve freedom, right? The Kundalini awakening. A lot of comments in here tonight. I've not been able to keep up with all of them, guys, and I do apologize for that. Trying to trying to see what I miss in the comments. Yeah, Aaron, I just now seen that comment. She said the sheer amount of karmic debt that guy stockpiled from doing that. Yeah, a little terrifying to be honest. Hey, Kimberly, I didn't see you jump in there. Welcome, my friend. Did you get that tattoo too? No, actually, I do not have that yet. Okay, so I finally caught up with you guys. I was just trying to make sure that I didn't miss your comments. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to comment on all of them back, and I do apologize. But I didn't want to leave you guys waiting and hanging out there too long. So, again, I'm sure all of you guys knew that's what the symbol on all the ambulances and the hospitals and everything, that's what it represents, right? It essentially represents balancing the divine feminine and masculine within you and raising your energy from the base of your spine through each of your chakras up to your crown and experiencing a true Kundalini awakening through balance, right? That is used as a symbol of health because that is health. That is what we are truly meant to do, and you can only achieve that through balance. You have to study that stuff, it's not lies. Yeah, I completely agree with you on that, my friend. There is a whole lot of truth in there. And the majority of people that I meet, spiritually speaking, who are opposed to those things, which are traditionally Eastern concepts from Eastern religions, at least we believe that, right? Most of the people who rebel against those concepts either do not believe in spirit or God at all, or they come from the Judeo Christian faith, and they are entwined in a religious system of control versus spirituality. And what is very unfortunate about that is there is a very rich tradition, albeit esoteric, hidden within Judaism and Christianity that talks about Kundalini awakening, about picking up the serpent from the desert floor, turning the staff into the serpent, watering the seven virgins, and then having a grand divine vision of God, right? Such as in the case of Moses and several other. There's numerous examples of this all throughout the Judaic scriptures and the later Christian scriptures. And Jesus talked about that, talked about awakening and opening your third eye. Mostly Western. So those concepts are not limited to Eastern culture. Certainly not. I believe that those things have been taught long before the time of Christ. Long before that. I think at that point it was in the stages of being remembered, forgotten knowledge that had passed, all except for the inner circles of initiates into like the Hermetic orders of ancient Kemet, those who were initiated into the esoteric circles in ancient Egypt and some other places as well. But the Great Cavern, there's a pigment found in it, and there's almost no 1.2 billion worth in gold found in a mysterious cavern in Arizona. I had not heard about that. I'll have to look into that. Thank you for sharing that, my friend. But anyway, that was a long-winded introduction to you guys to get to the point that for me, that is the pinnacle of health, and it is something that we should all strive for. And that's why the Caduceus wand is used as a symbol for health, even though it's used primarily in the West by people who have absolutely no idea what it means or what it symbolizes. I will, Dave. I appreciate that. Isn't it on Hopi land too, Star People? Hmm. Definitely sounds right up my alley. I'll have to check that out for sure. Almost sounds like you're one of the ones who are like Black Book budget Project Jedi. If you're directing that at me, no. I wish I had that kind of funding. Um, but I'll take that as a compliment. Kimberly says, I've been in healthcare for 25 years, and you are correct. Well, again, Kimberly, I know that several of you guys here in our community are in the medical profession, and that's why I had the realization that this is my view and it is my stance. But maybe I should clarify that, because the last thing I want is you guys to think that I think poorly of you because you work in the medical profession, and that could not be any further from the truth. Most people that I know or who have ever met who work in the medical profession are very compassionate, loving people, and that's why they're there, because they want to help people. Um, that's not to say that everybody is that way, right? But we're people. None of us are infallible. I know that I'm certainly not. But either way, my qualms, my issues with the medical profession is systemic. It is the way that medical professionals are trained, and it is more with our society and our civilization as a whole, as opposed to the medical profession. Hey, Judy, I'm glad you found your way back. But thank you for sharing that with me, Kimberly, for sure. Most don't know. Yeah, I've that's been my experience with it, talking with the few that I have known, and even doctors that I've met, and that sort of thing. Dave, if we had that kind of money, we'd be knee deep in like Indiana Jones. Oh, no doubt. You guys will know for sure. If I ever become a low key billionaire, um, there will be signs for sure. We'll be doing all sorts of globe hopping and um, sorts of excavations and things like that. Healthcare has changed so much. One last question. What about Planet X? We have not talked about that in a very long time. I would love to talk about that, Dave. Let me get back to the bottom of the comments so I don't get too far behind, and then I'd love to talk about it. We're also a little quirky. That's true, Arlene. It definitely takes a special person, and I'm glad that you guys exist, because I'm not one of those people. I love people a lot. I have tremendous compassion, um, but I'm not that type of person. I don't have it in me. Um, I I just think maybe I'm not strong enough, right? I could do just fine until the first time that a 5 year old girl was wheeled in, and had been in a terrible car wreck, and they were mangled and in severe pain, and I could not help them. I couldn't make it stop. I just don't know that I could take that as a person. I don't think I have the strength to do that kind of work. And God bless those who do. Um, I truly honor and respect you, because I know this about myself. I'm not strong enough for that. I just don't think I could take it. Kimberly left healthcare to start farming. Awesome. My family actually works for NASA, and they will not. Oh, wow. New hat. Actually, it's not a new hat. This is just my work hat. I did not put on my usual hat before I started to go live. I'm not a earther, but this is kind of confusing me. You're very welcome, Texas Zombie. Thank you for coming back, my friend. By the way, I hope you're all right with me doing this. I haven't really fully asked you for your permission, but everybody, I just wanted to share with you that um, Texas Sunbee has been incredibly supportive of me um, in the last week, and has chosen to support me financially by making pretty sizable um, gifts and donations to me in my cause to support my message and help me be able to focus more on the message and on my calling. And I just wanted to thank you publicly for that. And please forgive me for doing that so publicly without your permission first. I just, I am very grateful for you, for each and every one of you. But I definitely wanted to thank you personally for that. Work trauma ER for 25 years. I can imagine there's some PTSD in there. Warner Von Braun tombstone. Interesting. So many good topics. I promise I'm trying to get to the bottom of the comments here. No, man, you got a billion. You probably have a new ad. Yeah, okay, good point. About to launch to the North Pole. Okay. All right, so let's talk about Planet X for a minute. It's been a long time. We've talked about this in the past, but we have grown a lot as a community since the last time that we talked about it, or it's even been mentioned that I'm aware of. So some of you have never been part of that conversation here. So this is a good time to talk about it, I think. Planet X, for those of you who are new to that idea or don't know what I'm talking about, is an idea, or I guess you could say, I'm trying to look for the right term there. Planet X stands for an unknown planet within our solar system. Planet 10, a 10th planet. By the way, for any of you guys who don't know, that is not a new concept. The idea of this planet existing, of Nibiru, of Planet X, goes all of the way back to the oldest known written documents in human history. So this is not a new concept. It's not a new thing. It's been recently popularized because of theories coming out that's shown a lot, a lot of speculation circling around it. But here's the thing: scientists pretty much agree, and by scientists I mean astronomers, say that mathematically there has to be another large gravitational body somewhere on the outer fringes of our solar system because of the way the orbits of all of the other planets are behaving. They can calculate all of this using advanced computer algorithms mathematically, and can tell the only way to make that work is if there is another decent sized planet, a large planet, somewhere orbiting in the outer edges of our solar system. And they speculate that it has a very eccentric, oblong orbit, and that it only comes close to the solar system every so many thousands of years, right? So this has nothing to do with the Sumerian tablets. This is just what astronomers say, what scientists are saying. And then Zechariah Sitchin translated what is known as the Sumerian tablets, and then everybody lost their minds because the Sumerian tablets are the oldest known writing that we've ever discovered. Well over 6,000 years old, very old. And they chronicle pretty much just about all of human history that we know of, and far beyond what we had knew up to that point. These tablets contain some really interesting information. Even if you think there's not a shred of truth in them whatsoever, it is a very, very interesting story because it pretty much starts out by saying that sky gods came, gods from the sky, from outer space. They came and visited our planet thousands of years ago. At the time that primordial man was cave dwellers and was much closer to an animal than a human being. And they came here to our planet because their atmosphere had been destroyed. It was damaged. And they knew the only way to repair their atmosphere was by finding gold and then reducing it to particulate matter and then spraying their atmosphere with this particulates of gold to stabilize their atmosphere to keep their planet from total collapse. So they came to Earth to mine gold, right? Now, mind you, this sounds like a sci-fi story. If it is, it's the oldest sci-fi story ever written, long before the invention of civilization, according to historians, according to the mainstream archaeologists, right? They detail every planet in our solar system from 6,000 years ago. If you know much about history or astronomy, you know that almost half of our planets have been discovered in the last couple hundred years, like two, maybe 300 years. Prior to that, we only knew of the ones that you could see with the naked eye for thousands of years. Somehow, the ancient Sumerians, with no technology whatsoever, barely had the wheel, right? According to historians. Somehow, they knew of every planet of our solar system. Not only knew of, but they described them accurately, described their orbits accurately, and even named them from the outside inwards, as if somebody had entered into our solar system from outside and then traveled towards the Earth. But one of the most interesting things that came out of this information is they said that there was a 10th planet and that it has a very eccentric orbit, oblong, and that every so many thousands of years it approaches to the closest point of the solar system. And whenever it does that, because of its mass gravitational body, it causes a little bit of a disturbance gravitationally, energetically with the other planets. They even said that many, many, many moons ago, long before this, that this planet actually collided with Earth. And whenever that happened, a huge portion of it was broke off, and that's how we got our moon. They said this in these 6,000-year-old tablets, right? Astronomers believe, in case you guys don't know, that the moon was created from a massive impact to the Earth by another large gravitational body, which stripped off a large chunk of the Earth and it became our moon. It's definitely not science fiction, in my opinion. I have to agree with you on that. I cannot verify the truth of this, but I do not believe in coincidence at all. And there's far too many coincidences here for me. So, the theory of Planet X is the story of the Sumerian tablets. That this idea and theory that there is a 10th planet, that it comes around close to where we're at every so many thousand years. And you'll have to forgive me. It's been several years since I've read up on this, so I don't remember exactly how many years it's supposed to be in between. But I do know there have been prophecies that say that we're entering into the time where this 10th planet comes back around and causes massive upheavals in our solar system and on our planet as well. If you guys have never heard this before, if this is your first time hearing it, I strongly encourage you to go check it out for yourself. There is a bunch of different books written on this topic, not just a video or two. There is a ton of books on the topic if you're interested. I recently read that and found it fascinating and very believable. Oh, one more bit of information. And Judy said, I think I heard it was a sister planet. It's due to come back. Yes, that was my understanding. The orbit of it is wildly different from the other planets in our solar system. And I think that a lot of it has to do with the gravitational pull because of its size and denseness and because of the massive impact that happened with Earth. Any prophecies about Trump? There's plenty of prophecies about Trump. I don't know if I want to talk about that yet, at least not right at this moment. But one other bit of information that I failed to mention when you're talking about the Sumerian tablets is these sky gods, the Anunnaki, came here to harvest gold to repair their atmosphere, right? They very quickly tired of working the mines, and they said, these weird looking animals that walk around on their back legs, they would make really good slaves if only they weren't so dumb. So they decided, according to this story, to do a little bit of genetic splicing and splice their DNA with primordial man's DNA. And the result of that was the creation of a new species that we know of as Homo sapiens. All of that was recorded in a 6,000-year-old tablet, long before we knew anything about genetics. So again, there's a lot of coincidences in there. Um, of course, a lot of historians, a lot of archaeologists, a lot of people within the system have cried hoax or not really even calling into question um, the authenticity of the tablets at all, but more calling into question the veracity of Zechariah Sitchin's work translating the tablets, basically saying that he didn't translate them very well and that he, done so very liberally and injected all of his own conjecture and blah, blah, blah into it. I personally don't believe that. I think that, of course, those who are trapped in the system will fight to protect it, and so of course they're not going to think very kindly of it. But the Book of Enoch is incredibly interesting. Was that in the Book of Enoch? There's actually several sources, believe it or not, from all around the world that all converge on very similar aspects. The one, actually, any pre Judaic writings from that era should not come as too much of a surprise that they share similarities with the Sumerian tablets, because all Abrahamic faiths, meaning Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, all came from Sumeria. That's where that's where it all originated with Abraham. That's where they came from. It's from the Sumerian Valley. That's even recorded and documented in the Torah. So that's not even up for debate or dispute. But all of the original myths, like the Great Biblical Flood, all of that came back from Sumeria with Abraham. All of this is found out to be real. We have learned way too fast that the power. That right there, Judy, in my opinion, is one of the main issues with our civilization. We learned way too fast. Albert Einstein talked about that and said that a time would come very soon that our wisdom would be outpaced by our intellect, and that would essentially be our undoing, and that it would most likely lead to World War III, and it would unmake civilization. It's pretty obvious we've reached the point where our wisdom has been outpaced by our intellect. And for me, a lot of that has come as a result of the Age of Aquarius. You guys, most of you have heard me talk about this a lot, but in case any of you guys have not heard me say this, the Age of Aquarius is upon us. We are moving into that energy right now, and we have been for over 100 years. If you look at the natural unfoldment of history from what we know, for thousands of years, we had very little advancements in technology whatsoever. 150 years ago, everyone was moving about on horseback and buggy. And then in the span of one human lifetime, we went from horse-drawn carriages to combustion engines, to electricity, to rocket technology, nanotechnology, everyone carrying around a supercomputer in your back pocket, and many, many other things, like a whole mountain of technology that has exploded. Thank you, Brock. I appreciate the trumpets, my friend. That is no coincidence, and it does not follow the natural arc of evolution or expansion of technology. Those things have happened because we've moved into the age of Aquarius. The age of Aquarius is all about invention, electricity, truth, all of these things, knowledge. Many of the huge pioneers of our civilization, I personally believe, were front runners for the age of Aquarius. People like Nikola Tesla, Edgar Cayce, right? And many, many more. Yeah, I didn't even get to touch on the extra genes, but there's a lot to that story. Totally a lot to it. I'm a geek for information and inspiration. Well, you certainly made it to the right place, Judy. We're all about that here. We are here to help balance this all out. I truly believe, you know this, Aaron, but I do believe that's what we're here to do. We're here to tip the scales back into a state of balance because we have far outpaced our wisdom as a species, and we have raped and pillaged and plundered the earth and entered into a very unnatural state of imbalance to the point to where all life on the planet is threatened because of the imbalance that we have created. So I do believe that part of the age of Aquarius is all about us restoring that balance. You're very welcome, Judy. The junk DNA, laugh out loud. So I'm probably getting ready to get off of here, guys. I don't know if you can tell, but see my nose? I'm starting to look like Rudolph. It's actually quite cold out here. Can't see my breath on the phone, but I assure you it's there. I'm freezing a little bit. One thing that I did want to share with you guys before I get off of here is that junk DNA, one of the things that geneticists have discovered recently, and a few have talked about, but not nearly enough, is that it was long believed, and still the majority of mainstream Western science. Thank you, Kelly. I appreciate that. Thank you for the trumpets, my friend. You're awesome. So the majority of Western medical profession and science is still living in the past and believes that the majority of disease within the body is a result of inherited genetics. Basically, you are genetically predisposed to cancer or heart disease or whatever it is, right? And that there was not really anything that you could do to affect that either way. That you could, through proper diet and exercise, prolong your health and your life, but not really affecting the outcome of developing heart disease or whatever it is because of your genetic predisposition. But what has been proven now, and very few people are talking about, is that you can turn on and off those gene sequences for genetic predisposition and many other things. That our food our food actually turns on and off those genes depending on the types of food that you eat, and of course the mind-body connection, because your mind has the ability to affect the body. It has the ability to affect your genetics. So just because you are genetically predisposed to whatever it is, that doesn't mean that has to be the case. They've proven now. You can completely switch that off, or better yet, activate entirely new genetic sequences within your genetics and your DNA through eating the right types of food and holding the right types of thought in your mind. To me, that is tremendous. What is your opinion on Bashar? Thank you, Brock. I appreciate the trumpet. Arlena, I have listened to 5 or 6 different videos from Bashar. I don't know enough for me to say either way. All I can give you is my opinion, right? That's all I can give you either way. But I feel that Bashar is, first of all, I think that this is a genuine channel. Either way, I think that I can't remember the guy's actual name. Um, I do find it interesting that he started in Hollywood. He was actually one of the big members of Hollywood, um, a producer or director or something like that. I don't remember the specifics. Um, but then developed this ability of channeling and made connection with this entity claiming to be known as Bashar. The information from what I've seen all resonates as truth from anything that I've seen. Um, and I think the best thing that we can hope for is using our own internal discernment whenever it comes for things like that. And my own is resonating as truth. And that's really all I can offer you is that it feels right. It feels like truth to me. You know, there are some people that think that humans do not do any impact to the earth. I do. I am aware of that, Kelly. That's a really big soapbox. I don't know if I want to climb on that. I'm pretty cold right now. But let me just say this. I think climate change is BS. I will just say that. And I hope I don't offend any of you guys. The climate is changing. It is shifting tremendously, very powerfully. Global warming, even, is real. But these are all natural cycles of the planet. If you look at something, if you're talking geological time, and you're looking at a tiny little sliver of 100 years and thinking that you're matching a trend and saying, oh, because of this, we're changing it, without looking at the last billions of years of geologic time with natural cycles, I think that that is cherry picking of the highest order. And a lot of what has been relegated as climate change is actual natural cycles and has more to do with the cyclical disaster, with the changes on our sun, and the geomagnetic changes of the earth, I think, than humans' impact on the climate. But I do not believe that we've not had any impact whatsoever on the earth, um, even if it is just energetic, even if you're just looking at it energetically. I think that we have disrespected the earth. We have treated it as what can I get from this? What can I take from this? What can I, get up on other life, essentially. And if you just look at it energetically, I think that's a problem. Sorry, guys, I got way behind on the comments here. Restoring traditional, sustainable growing methods and teaching them is my new mission. I love that, Kimberly. Love it. Thank you, John. I really appreciate that, my friend. Spontaneous healing. Exactly. You're too kind, John. Thank you, my friend. Could it be evil? Eben, I am so far behind on my comments, my friend. I'm not sure exactly what you're referring to on could it be evil. I'm sorry. If you maybe clarify that for me a little bit, I would happily comment on it. There was an amazing doc on Netflix on that. It definitely is BS. Brock, I like that. Some people think common sense is common too. There was a time, right? There was a time when it was common. It is not common anymore, not at all. I believe Woody Harrelson narrated it. Very interesting. We've moved from what is best practice to what is most profitable. Um, yes. And unfortunately, until our entire system is changed and gutted, it will stay that way or worse. It will continue to increase. And here's the thing about our civilization, about Western society. I'm primarily talking about the United States here, but there is numerous countries around the world that has followed suit with that business model of the United States, the corporation of the United States. And that's what it is. The concept of capitalism is only sustainable with indefinite exponential growth. If there is ever an elongated period of time without growth, there is a collapse. That is not sustainable. We cannot grow exponentially, infinitely, right? So there will be a time, no matter what, when this system collapses. It has to, by natural law. It is unsustainable. Until that happens, or it is overthrown and a new system supplanted onto it, there will be continual pushes towards expansion using greed as the highest moral. And unfortunately, I don't think we're quite to the place where we're going to see that yet, but it certainly will not be sticking around in the age of Aquarius. It can't. That is very true, but eyes are being opened. In droves, people are starting to ask questions. People are starting to wake up. I'm very excited about that. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing this. Um, that's why you guys are here, right? That's what we're all doing. We're all playing our part in that. And the more that we awaken, the brighter we shine our light, the more people awaken, and the more they shine their light, the more we correct the imbalance, the more unstable the system becomes because the less and less people are participating in it or have faith in it. The US dollar, the only value it has is the perception of value. It's worth what we perceive it to be worth. More and more people are starting to perceive the US dollar to be worthless. There will be a critical mass that is reached, and then the US dollar will be literally not worth the money it's printed on. It's pretty much there already, right? And the same thing is going to happen to the entire system. And I don't just mean like the government, but the entire system of our civilization. All of the different systems of control that are there to subjugate and control the population. Religions, science, medical profession, consumerism, constant consumption, all of those things. Not to mention our monetary system. That one, we're beginning to watch that unravel right now. People are certainly waking up to the truth. Heritage organic seeds are the way to go. Definitely. The more you have, the more you need. Exactly. Exponential growth. It's absolutely necessary in a capitalistic society. And unfortunately, it's not possible. It's unsustainable. The national deficit is growing. You could say that a few times over for sure. You are not the only one, Aaron. A lot of us are excited about it. Planning on going live tomorrow to do a new moon collective reading. That would be awesome, my friend. You're more than welcome. Anytime that you want to join me on here to do something like that, just let me know. I'd be happy to do that. And the same thing goes for any of you guys. I don't say that enough. But if any of you guys ever decide that you're ready to come up on live with me, whether that's just audio or um, video and audio, and have a conversation and directly address the group, you guys are more than willing to do that. I think that would be awesome. But on that note, guys, I am going to get off here and go warm up my hands and my poor red nose. Yeah, same for me, Aaron. If I'm not sure if I'll still be at work. I don't know what time you're planning on doing your live or not, but I'm not as eloquently spoken as you. I think you do a fine job, Kelly. Aaron, that's entirely up to you. If you would, rather do it on your channel, by all means do that. You're not, you don't ever have to worry about stepping on my toes. Like, I am all about supporting every member of this group, and the same thing for each and every one of you guys. I don't think I've ever told you guys this, but if you're trying to grow your own message and grow your own channel, feel free to self promote in here all you want to. I will never hold that against you. I strongly encourage it and support you guys because I know each and every one of us is important. We're each a piece of the puzzle to the big picture. It takes all of us. My part, I believe, is to bring people together, to bring those pieces together. I don't know for sure if that's it or not, but I do feel like that's a huge part of it. You absolutely have it, Brock. You will certainly have it, my friend. The puzzle hoarder. My guys told me around 9:30 tomorrow night. Okay. Well, just let me know whatever you want to do, Aaron. Um, it might honestly be better to do it on yours because I will still be here with not very good service to host a live. I mean, I obviously can do it, but it will mean me being outside, and I'm not sure how long you're going to be on there doing it. So either way, if you do your own live, I will try my best to be there and be a part of it and support you. But on this note, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up for tonight and go inside and warm my hands a little bit. Thank you all for being here, as always. Thank you for bringing your energy um, to this community and making it what it is. I love each and every one of you guys. Thank you, Kelly. I appreciate you. You work late tomorrow. Okay. You're most welcome, Aaron. I hope you all have a great night, and I will see you tomorrow. Good night.